Hi Krishna, good morning. Good morning. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Vasudevaya.
Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jaya mudirayat. For reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayan, unto Narayan, which is the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto the author, Srila Vyasadeva. And we are reading today from the third canto, entitled Status Quo, the Status Quo. And we are reading from chapter 4, meeting between Vidura and Maitreya, I think it's entitled. And we are on text 27. Damayanti probably is looking for books. I bought my own books. Okay. This one you can have it for you or to pass around to recite the verse. And if I can have a Bhagavad Gita, will be nice. Yeah.
Krishna.
Which verse is it?
It's 3, 4, 27.
Okay.
3, 4, 27. Okay. One Sanskrit word at a time. Shri Shuka
Shri Shuka
iti
iti
saha vidurena
Vivina
Vishvamurte
Morte
Gunakataya
Manakataya
Sudaya Plavita Urutapa
Lavita Urukata
Shanam
Shana
Iva
Iva
Puline Yamasvasu
Yamasvastu
Yamasvatu Vasutam
Yamasvastu
Samusita
Samushita
Upagavit Nisham
Nisha
Tata Agat Shri Shuka Uvacha Iti Sahavidurena Vishvamurter
Vidurena Vishvamuter
Guna Kataya Sudaya Lavito Utapa
Guna Kataya Sudaya Vati Lavito Rutapa
Shanamiva Purine Yamasvasustam
Janamiva Purite Yamasvasustam
Samushita Bhagavir Nisham Tatogat
Samushita Opagavir Nisham Tatogat
Shri Shuka Uvacha
Uvacha
Iti Saha Vidurena Vishvamuter
Iti Saha Vidurena Vishvamuter
Guna Kataya Shudaya Plavito Utapam
Guna Kataya Surya Blavitorutapa
Shanamiva Puline Yasmava Sustam
Shana Iva Pudinena Masasustam
Tamushita O Pagavir Nisham Tatogat
Tamushita O Pagavir Nisham Tatogat
Shri Shuka Uvacha
Shri Sukauvacha
Iti Savidurena Vishvamuter
Iti Sahavidurena Vishvam
Guna Kataya Shudaya Plavito Utapa
Guna Daya Sudaya Lavito Ludapa
Janamiva Puline Yasmava Sustam
Shanamiva Puline Yamas Sustam
Samushita Upagavya Nisham Tatogat.
Samushita Bopagavir Nisham Tatokat
Someone would like to chant?
Shri Shukuvacha
Shri Shukavacha
Iti Sahavidurena
Iti
Vishvamurte
Sahavidurena Vishvamuter
Kunakataya Sudaya Plavito Utapa
Guna Kataya Sudaya Plavito Utapa
Ksenamiva Puline Yamas Vasustam
Shamamiva Puline Yamashvasustam
Samushita O Bhagavir Nisham Gatoga
Samushita Upagavir Nisham Tatogat
Shri Shuka Uvacha
Shri Shukavacha
Iti Sahavidurena Vishvamuter
Iti Sahavidurena Vishvamuter
Guna Kataya Sudaya Plavito Lutapa
Guna Kataya Sudaya Plavito Utapam
Shanamiva Puline Yamas Vasustam
Shamamiva Puline Yamavashustam
Samushita Opagavir Nisham Tatogat
Samushita Upagavir Nisham Tatogat. Someone online would like to chant? Okay. So one word for word. Shri Shuka Uvacha.
Shuka Uvacha
Shri Shukadev Goswami said,
Sri Shukadev Goswami said,
Iti,
Iti,
thus, Saha,
Saha,
along with,
Alangpur,
Vidurena, Viduha,
Vishvamurte
Vishvamurte, of
of
the universal person,
the universal person
Gunakataya,
Gunakataya
in a discourse of transcendental qualities,
in the discourse of transcendental quality
Sudaya,
Sudaya
Nectarian,
Nectarian,
Flavita Urutapa,
Lavita Utapa
overwhelmed by great affliction,
overwhelmed by great affliction
Shanam,
Shanam
moment, Eva,
Eva
like that,
like that
Uline,
Uline,
on the bank of
on the bank of
Yamasvasutam,
Masutam
River Yamuna,
River Yamuna
Samushita,
Smushita
passed on,
Testam
Upagavi,
Upagavi
the son of Upagava, Udava,
the son of Bhavaga Uddhava
Nisham,
Nisham,
the night,
the night,
Tata,
Tata,
thereafter,
thereafter,
I got,
God
went away.
went away.
Translation. Shukadev Goswami said, O king, after thus discussing with Viduha the transcendental name, fame, qualities, etc., on the bank of the Yamuna, Uddhava was overwhelmed with great affliction. He passed the night as if it were a moment, and thereafter he went away. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Shri Prabhupada. The word used here for Krishna is Vishvamurti. Both Uddhava and Vidura were in great affliction because of Lord Krishna's departure. The more they discussed the transcendental name, fame, and qualities of the Lord, the more the picture of the Lord became visible to them everywhere. Such a visualization of the transcendental form of the Lord is neither false nor imaginary, but is factual, absolute truth. When the Lord is perceived as Vishvamurti, it is not that he loses his personality or transcendental eternal form, but he becomes visible in the same form everywhere. Hare Krishna. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnana-jala Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Jdapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Upakadamayam Dadati Swapadam Tikam Vandeham Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saita Krishna Chaitanya Deva Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vidancha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kamchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishavanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpata Ubhyacha Kripat Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Tinamine Namaste Sarasvate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvesesha Shunyavadi Pastyachari Jatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okam Korotiva Chalam Pangum Logayati Girim, Yakripak Kamaham Vande, Shegurum, Desatarine. So, Shukadev Goswami said, O king, after thus discussing with Vidura the transcendental name, fame, quality, etc. of the bank on the bank of the Yamuna, Uddhava was overwhelmed with great affliction. He passed the night as if it were a moment, and therefore he went away. So this is really interesting because we started this canto when Uddhava and Vidura and Uddhava meet like months ago. And months ago when we started it, they met at sunset. And they started to speak at sunset. And then what's happened months ago for us, it was just one night. One night of hours and hours of speaking about the Lord's, all the Lord's devotees. That's what they did. And we can notice that in all those dialogue, none of them was saying, I'm tired, now it's time to go to sleep. They didn't share that. We have been with them for months, and none of them were even thinking of sleeping. Eating, sleeping, drinking, none of that was happening. And here, Shukadev Goswami He's speaking to Maharaj Parikshit. And the same thing is happening in that dialogue. The third canto, let's say, it's evening of the second day that Maharaj Parikshit and Sukadeva Goswami are having their dialogue. And none of the two either are speaking about eating, mating, eating, sleeping, or different things. They are not speaking about any of that. And they are completely so absorbed that they have no need. They don't have any need. The need of the body completely disappeared from them because the soul is independent of the body. The soul is not depending on a body to be fed, on the body to be sleeping or resting in order for the soul to give full energy to the body, because the soul is completely separated from the body. And what perverts the entire body is the soul. What gives the energy to the body is the soul, isn't it? Like if we see a dead body, like we see someone we love and that person passed away, well, we can give them food, we can give them rest. In fact, they seems to be resting. Nothing is going to happen. Why? Because the very particles that give life to the body left the body. So in that way, we can see that what really gives us energy, what really is nourishing the body, is the consciousness coming from the soul. However, when we are covered and in illusion that we are this body, then we are also in illusion that to maintain this body, we need to feed the body, we need to rest the body, we need to give water to the body. Unfortunately, even now on Earth, there is people who are proving us the opposite, because otherwise we'll not believe it, isn't it? And so there is yogis in the Himalayas or yogis, like advanced yogis, even now on Earth, who don't need to eat. I remember once I was in Montreal, it was at the very beginning of my spiritual life following Srila Prabhupada. And I was sent to some kind, I don't remember what it was. I remember it was a big space with many people presenting different things. And I was alone and I was with my little booth presenting Krishna consciousness with a big tray of laddu. I remember the tray of laddu because going to the subway in Montreal with a big tray of laddu was quite a chore. It was really a chore. So I was there with my laddus and I saw that shining human being coming, like very tall and like Indian looking. And he comes to me and we started to speak. And of course, I offer a laddu and he said, no, I don't eat. Oh, you don't eat? And I say, oh, I just eat one apple a month. So some people eat 3 times a day. I eat 3 times a day. Some people, I know some devotees who eat only 2 times a day. And I know one devotee who eat only 1 time a day. And some people eat only 1 apple a month because the energy of the body has nothing to do with the food we eat. But because the more we are dense, the more we are away from Krishna, the more we are away from that natural force, life force. I'm studying, lately I'm studying a lot about the Qigong. I'm doing Qigong and it's really healing for my body. I really appreciate everything Qigong is giving me, not simply for my body, my mind, and my spiritual life. So it's just a beautiful combination. And I just love my teacher and it's really wonderful. And the Qi means life force, like Chaitanya, the same root. Qi, Chaitanya, life force.
The Chaim.
The rhyme in Hebrew. So that's where the life force is, in the Qi. And as I'm experiencing that Qi in my body, I can see in fact, when I eat, I feel tired. I feel tired when I eat. When I do Qigong and connect with the universal energy, because the universal energy is there, we are the soul, and the soul energy pervades this whole body. And then there is a super soul. And then there is a super soul of this universe with a consciousness that pervades the entire universe. And then there is a super soul of all the universes that pervert with its consciousness, Mahavishnu's consciousness, all the universes. So in Qigong, like there is the connection with the Qi, and there is a connection with that universal energy also coming from the super soul. Of course, they don't explain it like that. As far as I know, it's coming from nothingness. This is really very spooky. The philosophy of Buddhism is really, really spooky because they go so deep into the universal consciousness, the universal energy, the life force. And when you really, really meditate very, very strongly, very hard, you land in a nothingness place. Yeah, I know when they do exercise, it's really, really powerful because I go to the place of Mahavishnu and fusing the souls into, the universe. And they speak about the universe, they even speak about God. So it's just a little like, oh, I really want to meet that teacher and kind of sit with him, but he's so protected by all his followers that it's really even impossible to have a healing session with him. Anyhow, so the Qi, like Qi, Chaitanya, life force, is not, and we can see here, Sukadev Goswami is on his second days and second day and one night, probably around that, calculated it's around that. There is 12 canto to the Bhagavatam. They spoke 7 days, like that. So the cantos are not always the same, but like, second day somewhere. And he's all like exciting. He wants more, and the more is continuing. After 7 days of not eating and not sleeping, Maharaj Parikshit have more questions, and his questions are deeper and deeper. And Sukadev Goswami is completely excited. So Sukadev Goswami now is describing Uddhava also and Vidura, having spent the entire night speaking about Krishna, about the name of Krishna, about the activities of Krishna, about his fame, about his devotees and his interaction with the devotees. He started speaking about, first he spoke about Vidura's family because that's what's polite, it's proper etiquette. So when Vidura inquired, Vidura had been away for 30 years from the Kurus and the Yadus. Of course, as he was traveling to place of pilgrimage, he probably overheard, things because he was traveling among sages and seeing sages, he probably knew something. So he had heard about the battlefield Kurukshetra. He had heard, however, never really directly from someone who was right there experiencing it, like Uddhava. And so when they met, they started speaking and they couldn't stop. And Uddhava started speaking about the Kurus. And then after he was done speaking about the Kurus, he started to speak about the Yadus. And all the while, he was remembering the relationships they had with Krishna. Yudhishthira Maharaj relationship with Krishna, like all the Kurus relationship with Krishna. And then he was remembering like the land of Vrindavan, like what's happening in Vrindavan. And because Uddhava, he went there and he saw the madness of the inhabitant of Vrindavan. Why? The inhabitant of Vrindavan, they were mad. They were mad. So eating, sleeping, and defending was away from there. All they could do is lament. They were lamenting all day long because Krishna had left. And in their lamentation, they were in ecstasy, in complete ecstasy. And recently, I did a coaching session with quite an exalted devotee. I really think like, wow, this devotee is really exalted. And that devotee was so much in pain because she was experiencing material pain. And she said, I don't care about material pain. I cannot stand not having Krishna with me when I go to my material pain. And I say, wow, that's beautiful. That's amazing. Then you can just take your pen and just feel that pen. Like I cannot bear to be away from you. I have chosen to be away from you, Krishna, and I cannot bear to be 1 minute away from you. And then in that little shift, as soon as she gives herself permission to go there, that, yeah, in fact, what I'm experiencing is separation. Then at the very moment of her separation, she was connected with Krishna and her affliction went away. And it was really beautiful to witness. It was really amazing to witness. And it wasn't, 5,000 years ago. If it was just a few days ago, one. And as soon, because she was feeling, why Krishna is so far away, and I feel so much pain. And however, somehow the connection was not there. But as soon as that connection of, what I'm feeling is separation. And let me allow that separation to be. Let me allow that separation to exist. And we can do that all the time. And that's the beauty of Lord Chaitanya's movement. It's the beauty of Lord Chaitanya's teaching. In fact, that if we are with Krishna, or if we are not with Krishna, it's all good. It's all good. We can be with Krishna all the time. Because when we are not with Krishna, and we realize that we are not with Krishna, then we can feel separation from Krishna. And when we feel separation from Krishna, we feel Krishna. And I'm not saying we see Krishna face to face, like Uddhava had the opportunity, of Vidura had an opportunity. I'm not speaking about that. I'm speaking wherever we connect with Krishna. Wherever we connect with Krishna. And that's so much that verse, what it is about, of the Vishvamurti. And it's an interesting word, because I searched the Vedabase, by the mercy of dear Govinda Prabhu, I have now the Vedabase on my computer. And I learn how to use it. And I made a research. Vishvamurti. You know how many times he comes in Prabhupada's books? Once. In this verse. And it's very interesting. It is very interesting. Because we hear a lot about the Vishvarupa. And Prabhupada says something about that. In fact, word for word, it's very clear that Vishvarupa and Vishvamurti are not the same. Because in the word for word, Vishvamurti of the universal person, and Vishvarupa is of universal form. And the universal form is said to be the only material body of the Lord. The Lord enters, like as a soul, into the universal form. And that's the only material body that the Lord accepts. And of course, he's not identifying with that body. Still, there is a difference between the body and the soul. Usually when Krishna appears in any other form, there is no difference between the body of Krishna and the soul. The soul and the body are one. The Krishna manifests himself. Oh, something happened. Someone tried to join in and decide on our thing.
It looks like you're still on though. So
Interestingly, yeah. Why? Oh.
and return to meeting.
Okay. I'm not sure what's happened, but it seems someone tried to sign in with, okay. So what I was sharing. Yeah, so the Lord, usually there is no difference, and we cannot say the Lord's soul. That's kind of not proper. Because the Lord and his form are not different. However, when it comes to the universal form, there is a difference. And of course, Krishna doesn't identify, he doesn't even touch, he doesn't even come close to his external energy, to the universal form, material manifestation. So here we understand that what Uddhava's and Viduha are in contact is not the Vishvarupa, it's the Vishvamurti, the universal person. And I did some search about that. And what I found is that what they were seeing is they were seeing the super soul everywhere. And of course, for a devotee, the super soul is not necessarily one form. What's that verse? I'm going to go to the Bhagavad Gita just for a moment. There is a verse from Brahma Samhita. Yeah, this one. I'm going to look for it. It's a verse I want to quote anyway. So, yeah, Premanjana Charita Bhakti Vilochanena Shanta Sadana Vidyateshu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundaram Achunta Guna Swarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. And the translation say, I worship the Lord, the primeval Lord Govinda, who is always seen by the devotees whose eyes are anointed with the pulp of love. Is that beautiful? I'm going to repeat it. By the devotees whose eyes are anointed with the pulp of love. He is seen in his eternal form of Shyamasundar, situated within the heart of the devotee. So here, Srila Prabhupada, at the end of the purport, it's a very short purport, he becomes visible in the same form everywhere. So Uddhava and Viduha, they churned the nectar of the Lord's pastime. And as they were churning, they were feeling more and more affliction, the affliction of separation. And as they were feeling the affliction of separation and sorrow because the Lord left, they were also, in that separation, they were also being able to see the Lord. That's Achintya Beda Beda Tattva. That's what Lord Chaitanya is so much teaching us. And they were seeing the Lord everywhere, because the Lord is present in every atom. And for a devotee, the devotee is not bound by the form of the Lord that's, the form from Vishnu, Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, like we can see. They can even see Shyama Sundar everywhere. So what's the process for us to be able to see the Lord everywhere? So the process, as we see it, is hearing. Yeah, hearing through the ears. Recently, I had an exchange with a devotee by email, and he was asking me, because I love speaking about the Viraj River. The Viraj River is a river that separates the spiritual world and the material world. Material world and the spiritual world is the Viraj River. The Viraj River is also the causal ocean. And so I just always want to know more about the Viraj River and the causal ocean. And he asked me a question. He said, how do we cross the causal ocean? Do we swim? Is there a boat? Or when we are on the shore? Because it says there is a shore. There is a shore to the material world. There is a shore, and there on the other side of that shore, there is other shore, which is the spiritual world. So it makes sense. How do we cross that ocean? And is there a real ocean? And so we had that really fun interaction. It's really fun. I found it very fascinating. And the boat is hearing. The boat is our ears. Ears, of course, we are not depending on those material ears. It's really good to do that in Qigong. But we are not bound by those material ears. Even like Mukum Karotich Van Shalam, Pangum Lankaya Tegerim, is even a dumb person, a person who cannot speak. Usually people who cannot speak, cannot hear. He can cross that ocean. How? By taking shelter of the spiritual master. If we take shelter of the spiritual master, we develop the urge to hear. And in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a verse that says, Shu 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 So Sadhanasya Vasudeva Kata Ruchi Ruchi Syan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punyatirtha Nishevanat. So Ruchi means the test. We need to develop the test for hearing and chanting. Right now, we have a test for hearing about things that increase our desire to eat. Yeah, we have a test that increase hearing things that increase our desire to sleep. We have a test for hearing things that increase our desire to mate. We are hearing things that increase our desire to defend, isn't it? Fear. We are always fearing. We are always fearing, and fearing is like at the core, because at the core is envy. Core of us being bound to this material world is envy. And I was speaking with that same devotee who like, wow. And yeah, she was telling me a lot of devotees don't want to see their envy. They are like so against it. She was speaking to me, and because we do exchange. She do healing with me, I do healing with her. It's really nice. It's really, really nice exchange of a Vaishnava association. And I was saying, yeah, I have so much envy in my heart. And she says, so many devotees, they don't want to see that. They are ashamed of envy. And we are ashamed of envy because we can address our anger. We can address, of course, sadness, sorrow, grief. It's all very, very nice. Even so, it's, some people still have a problem allowing those emotions, but those emotions are celebrated on your side, your pain. And then we go into like confusion. There is so many emotions. And then the guilt and shame, it's more difficult to go there. It's like so difficult because they tend to choke us. And then at the bottom of all emotion, at the bottom, the very bottom of all emotion, fear, envy. Fear, envy. Once I read something from Srila Prabhupada, and I don't remember if he says that fear comes from envy and envy comes from fear. But it seems that they are very connected because envy comes from fear to not have enough, fear that I'm not going to be recognized, fear that I'm not going to receive. And then the seed of that envy is envy of the spiritual, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead have everything, all the abundance and opulence in full, and is served by everyone, and is loved by everyone. And so at one point or another, some fear or envy came, and that seed, that very small grain of something that was separated from wanted the enjoyment of Krishna and only wanting that. What is in this material world? Poof, like a moment of inattention bring us down. Yeah, we always fall, isn't it? We always fall. So twice born sages, Sutta Goswami said, by serving those devotees who are completely free from all vice, great service is done. By such a service, one gains affinity for hearing the message of Vasudeva. So by serving Srila Prabhupada, by serving Srila Prabhupada's mission, by serving Srila Prabhupada, which start with hearing and chanting, like we serve Prabhupada when we chant. Srila Prabhupada, once he was in Los Angeles, he had a meeting with all the senior, leader of his movement, and they wanted to speak about how to, administrative things, logistic, whatever they were speaking about. And Srila Prabhupada was in the room with all of them, and he went to the window, and he looked at the window, and down in a yard, there was a woman devotee. I don't remember her name. He was sitting at the bottom of a tree, and she was chanting. She was chanting and closing her eyes like that. And Srila Prabhupada was so pleased. So this is what it is all about. And so it was really like he was so pleased, he was so moved. And all those big leaders that were all doing that, but Prabhupada was moved by this humble devotee, was sitting at the bottom of a tree, chanting, following the commitment that she had with her spiritual master. I'm going to chant at least 16 rounds every day of attentive chanting. Attentive chanting. I'm going to follow four regulative principles for you, Srila Prabhupada. This is an offering. This is a sacrifice. Sacrifice for this age. Offering, like sacrifice is like we forego our personal enjoyment to do something that our senses don't want to do, our mind doesn't want to do, to please. I'm going to sacrifice. Mothers is sacrificed so much. Srila Prabhupada said that the closest material love to spiritual love is the love of a mother for a child, a small child. The mothers, she sacrificed her eating or sleeping, everything. I remember when I had my baby, I wasn't sleeping. She was waking up so much, and there was new mother, and eating was so difficult, like finding food, eating was so difficult. And so the mother naturally can forego that and sacrifice everything for the sake of the child, for the sake of the baby. So that's the closest we have to the love that we want to give to Srila Prabhupada and Krishna. And I have more to share. And this is from the first canto, fifth and sixth chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam. It is a part of the Bhagavatam. The Srimad Bhagavatam, where we have the story of Narada Muni. Narada Muni, he shows how the mercy of the spiritual master. In fact, I was on a walk this morning. Damayanti took me to a very nice walking trail. It was really nice. It's nice. I imagine you go on long bicycle rides there. It's so nice. Not a trail, it's a small road, but there is no car. And I was there, and I was really happy to be chanting Hare Krishna. And I was meditating on I really need to develop the consciousness of seeing Srila Prabhupada as my savior, the consciousness of seeing Srila Prabhupada as the one who is allowing me to chant. Without Srila Prabhupada's mercy, not simply the mercy 35 years ago. Sometimes we think, oh, Prabhupada's mercy was when I came to the devotee, to this movement. But no, it's a mercy every day. His mercy is every day that I chant. Every day it's his mercy. It's his mercy that I chant, it's his mercy that I can read his book. So anyway, there's a purport where so Narada Muni was a 5-year-old boy. He was living with his mother, and he was a child that he didn't even know who his father was, and his mother was a maid servant. So when it comes to the social organization of any cultured civilization, this is the lowest of the lowest of the lowest. Women are supposed to be protected. They are never alone. They are either with their father or their husband or their son. Here is a woman alone, not in her father's house, so she's alone, and her son, and she's a maid servant, and he is helping. So that's the lowest of the lowest in terms of social situation. And in a hermitage where his mom was serving, it was some sage. And in the Bhagavatam, it said Bhaktivedantas. That's so sweet. They're all Bhaktivedantas. And he got to serve them. And because they were so pleased to see a 5-year-old boy serving them, they allowed him to also eat the remnants of their food, prasadam, mahaprasadam. And also they kind of instructed him. They took time to teach him about Krishna. And by the mercy of those sages, later on, Narada Muni he became Narada Muni. And from that age of 5-year-old, then he became fixed the goal of life. What is the goal of life? Is to serve the Bhaktivedanta. How to serve them? By following their instruction. So here is the purport that I found in that section of the Bhagavatam. From the personal example of Sri Narada Muni and his previous birth, Narada Muni is now a universal spiritual master and space traveler. It is clear that the service of the Lord begins with the service of the Lord's bona fide servants. The Lord said that the service of his servants is more than his personal service. Service of the devotee is more valuable than the service of the Lord. One should therefore choose out a bona fide servant of the Lord, consistently engaged in his service, and accept such a servant as a spiritual master and engage himself in his, the spiritual master's service. Such spiritual master is a transparent medium to visualize the Lord with beyond the conception of the material senses. So here they were, Uddhava and Vidura, they were visualizing the Lord. So here we can see how to visualize the Lord, how to be able to see the Lord everywhere is. Such a spiritual master is a transparent media to visualize the Lord with beyond the conception of material senses. By service of the bona fide spiritual master, the Lord consents to reveal himself. The Lord consents to reveal himself. By service to the spiritual master, the Lord consents to reveal himself in proportion of service rendered. So, my tablet. In proportion to service rendered, utilization of the human energy in the service of the Lord is a progressive path of salvation. The whole cosmic creation become at once identical with the Lord. So that's exactly what they are sharing, that the whole cosmic manifestation become identical with the Lord as soon as the respective service is related with the Lord. The whole cosmic creation becomes at once identical with the Lord as soon as the respective service in relation with the Lord is rendered under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. The expert spiritual master knows the art how to utilize everything in a matter of glorifying the Lord, and therefore, under his guidance, the whole world can be turned into the spiritual abode by the divine grace of the Lord's servants. So, and there is a few words I want to read from the Bhagavad Gita, but in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 30, as he said, "For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me." So we need to learn how to see the Lord. So I was thinking maybe we can make a list, how to see the Lord. So many ways. In fact, we are never separated from the Lord. The separation is our illusion. Like this devotee, in a moment, she was in illusion. She was separated from the Lord. She was in illusion. The Lord wasn't with her anymore. And as soon as she realized, oh, I'm in illusion that I'm separated. And all I need to feel is the separation. And that separation is the Lord himself too. And everything around. Of course, the Bhagavad Gita is the Lord. The Srimad Bhagavatam is the Lord. The Japa beats is the Lord. The chanting of the holy name, form, quality is the Lord. All the pastime of the Lord are the Lord. But also his external energy. His couch is the Lord. His floor is the Lord. Our bodies is the Lord. So where is the separation? There's so many ways we can think of the Lord. And we can think of the Lord also in our hearts and not only in our heart, but in the heart of everyone else. When we understand that I'm a spirit soul having a human experience, and everybody else is a spirit soul having a human experience, and everybody is doing their best with that human experience, and everybody is guided by the Supreme Lord to come to realization, then in that we can feel peaceful in this material world, regardless what's happened, regardless what's up and down or coming around. And a person in Krishna consciousness certainly sees the Lord everywhere and sees everything in Krishna. Such a person may appear to see all separate manifestation of the material nature, but in each and every instance, he is conscious of Krishna, knowing that everything is manifestation of Krishna's energy. Nothing can exist without Krishna, and Krishna, the Lord of everything. This is the basic principle of Krishna consciousness. So that's the basic. So developing the urge, developing ruchi. The way we develop ruchi by service to the spiritual master. What ruchi does? Trinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravani Kirtana Vidyantasto Yabadwani. Vidunati Suitsatam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, which is the Paramatma inside the heart. In the heart of the soul, the devotee, who, the truthful devotee, who have developed the urge, the taste to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. So that's it. That's it. Us being here, hearing the Bhagavatam, discussing the Bhagavatam, speaking about Krishna, enlightening each other. A 10 chapter like Mat Gata, Mat Prana, Tushanti. Yeah, by enlightening each other, we get happiness, and we can forget about eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. And as long as we hear topics about eating, mating, sleeping, and defending, naturally, that's where we are going to go. And as long as we hear transcendental topics, naturally, that's where we are going to go. And we are transcendental. We are transcendental to this body. My Qigong teacher, he says he has a password. And I love his password. His password is, I am in the universe, and the universe is in my body. And he used those terms, and the universe is in my body. So that body is made of the same things the rest of the universe. 5 gross elements, 3 subtle elements. And the universe in my body. And he said, and the universe and I combine together. So the universe and me as a soul, we are combining together. But we are two. We are not one. And this body is separated from me as a soul. Hare Krishna, thank you very much for listening. And I'm going to go back to so many electronic little things around me. So Sanskrit to 3rd canto, 4th chapter, 27 verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Shri Shuka Uvacha Ti Sahaviduena Vishva Muter Gunakataya Shudaya Plavito Utapa Chanamiva Puline Yasmava Shustam Samushita Upagavir Visham Tatogat. Shukadeva Goswami said, O king, after thus discussing with Vidura the transcendental name, fame, quality, etc., on the bank of the Yamuna, Uddhava was overwhelmed with great affliction. He passed the night as if it were a moment, and thereafter he went away. So Uddhava is leaving Vidura, and both of them are feeling like Uddhava just spent the night speaking about Krishna, and that's really increased the pain. And Vidura heard about Krishna for a full night, and he feel much pain too, and they are both so afflicted by this transcendental disease of feeling separation from the Lord. Hare Krishna. Is there any comment, question, challenges, sharing, experience? Hare Krishna. Garuda Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Good morning, Hare Krishna. Thank you for the class, Mother Malini. So I was like connecting with just this perspective, being presented with this perspective that that if we feel separation from Krishna, it's us being an illusion, that nothing exists outside of Krishna. Like, so everything, this house, this, my body, the air, the trees, everything that I'm experiencing is Krishna. And what I was connecting with was like, I was thinking about like sinful activities, and like this idea that it creates separation or that it creates distance. But I was thinking about with your class today, like in that, like in that, like it feeds into that illusion. It like feeds the illusion. That's how I'm seeing it now. I'm like, okay, simple activity actually like it creates more illusion. It like feeds that like idea of separation. Because we're not really like becoming more distant from Krishna, maybe personally, we're creating more distance, but like we can't really spatially we
are not
we
separated.
can't really get any more distant than we already are in the moment. We're always in the same, but so I don't know, I was just appreciating like thinking about it in that way, like okay, well, I'm not, it's not like I'm getting further away from, a God or Krishna. I'm just feeding into that illusion that I'm,
Mhm.
so I don't know. I was just appreciating that. That was my process this morning. So I'm kind of really just I feel like this, this perspective is like, just like you're saying, you're talking about these, this perspective, this idea. The more that we do that, the more it's because I have my conditioning of like spatially myself from God and life and my perspectives. And this is like a perspective that's like, it's coming to me at this point in my life more and more, being exposed to Krishna consciousness. And I don't know, I'm just appreciating like, okay, just seeing simple activity, I guess, in that context. I'm just like feeding into that like illusion of separation.
Illusion
Okay.
illusion of separation that can be called ignorance, darkness.
Yeah.
Yeah, the darkness of ignorance. Like I ignore the fact that I am spirit soul,
Mm.
and then of course when I perform sinful activity, I separate myself. I'm separating. I'm never separated from Krishna, and
Yeah.
I'm separating myself by forgetting. I forget who I am. I'm completely forgetting who I am.
Mm.
I'm forgetting where everything comes from. I'm forgetting where everything emanates, where everything, the source, the cause of all causes. I'm forgetting Krishna.
Mm.
Yeah. And in that forgetfulness, illusion, forgetfulness, ignorance, then I'm vow to perform more sinful activity,
Mm.
because I'm going to want to hear more about eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. And those, if they are not performed in a regulated way, according to the regulation of the Veda, they are taking us more and down, downward spiral. And at the same time, if I, from that place, I can at any moment realize I miss Krishna. I miss Krishna. Oh, I have entangled myself. I have caused myself to be feeling separated from Krishna. I have caused myself to fall down into illusion and separation and ignorance. I have chosen to be away from Krishna. Oh, Krishna, I want to be with you so much. In that moment, regardless of sinful activity, regardless of material desire, we are back with Krishna. And that's the reason why the only things that can damage our spiritual life for good, offenses to the spiritual master, offenses to devotees, because that link of separation, of feeling, oh, Krishna, look how I separated myself from you, is way more difficult because there is that envy manifested in judgment and criticism and blasphemy. That is very, very difficult to turn around. Sinful activity, in fact, when unfortunately we go there, life becomes way more difficult and the reaction from it become more difficult. And at the same time, that suffering has the potency to bring us back. Because, oh, Krishna, I want you. Like this woman, she was feeling so like entangled in pain, and her life is really hellish. I will not want to trade my life with her life. Her life is hellish. And she had all those memory of hellish time in her life. And she was feeling, oh, why do I absorb myself there? I know it's so, but I cannot help it. And at the same time, and she's not sinful, she's very devoted and, like in a sense like that. And because of that, she was able to turn it around, like, and feeling like, Krishna, I just want to be with you. I can bear any pain. It doesn't matter, hunger, thirst, insult, whatever. I can bear any pain. The only pain I cannot bear is the pain of not being with you, of not feeling you, of not hearing you, of not having the taste for you. That's the only pain, really, that's difficult to bear. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. That's our ignorance and sinful activity. It's just deeper in ignorance, illusion, forgetfulness, really, but forgetfulness, falling down. Yeah.
Yeah, Srila Prabhupada used it. Prabhupada will sometimes make the point that we're disconnected from Krishna, and Prabhupada will say, we're not disconnected. We are connected, and we've forgotten that we've connected. So any activity or thought or words that increase the forgetfulness that we're connected to Krishna, we can label that as sin, like that. And those activities that enhance the remembrance, and that's transcendental auspiciousness. And I appreciate, Malini, that you examined closely this last line of the purport, because when you read the verse, that's what struck me, the last line, when the Lord is perceived as Vishvamurti. It is not that he loses his personality or transcendental eternal form, but he comes visible in the same form everywhere. So I wasn't sure what Prabhupada was saying there. Well, in my mind, Vishamurti and Visharupa, it's like synonymous. So I appreciate the research you did, and you made that distinction. So Vidura and Uddhava, they're seeing Krishna as super soul everywhere, and because they're very personal, pure devotees, super soul for them isn't primarily the four-armed form. It's Krishna Shama Sundar. So I wasn't quite sure where Prabhupada was going with that last sentence. So I appreciate that you illuminated that. Right.
Yeah. Like recently we studied the second part of the 20th chapter of Madhya Lila.
Yes.
And there I became so aware of So all the distinctions in the nomenclature and they are so important in all the form.
Yeah.
You know, Vishwamurti, Vishwarupa is different. Swayam Rupa, Swayam Murti, all those things. There's a distinction between all of them. And then they help us going into more details of understanding what is said. You know, it would be so nice to know Sanskrit. Not, you know, like to receive Prabhupada, because Prabhupada knows Sanskrit and it tells us things,
Yeah.
his purport. By paying attention to the Sanskrit, we get to understand Prabhupada better.
Yeah. Yeah, in my current reading of Bhagavatam, this cycle, I'm on 9th canto now. And this is the first time that I'm going through the word for word. And it's tedious, but I'm getting perspective. I'm getting aspects of where Prabhupada's coming from that I didn't previously get.
Yeah, like here, you know, like in a word forward, because he was there, it was easier. Vishwamurti, of the universal person.
Yeah.
It's not the universal form.
Yeah.
It's like it's right there. And Prabhupada gives so much in a word for word.
Yeah. So
I'm not doing like you, I don't systematically read it.
really does.
But when I study something, I do, and there's so much, like it's almost unlimited what Prabhupada is giving us.
Yeah.
We can always go deeper and go like, he gave so much of his time, he gave so much of his energy, and in the details of everything he gave us, it's like, yeah, I want 10,000 lifetimes to be able to study Srila Prabhupada and what he gave us. Yeah. Yes. I just want to share a verse, you know, like connected with what you were sharing, because I'm hearing that verse in a different way recently, so I just want to share it. He said, one who engage in full devotional service does not fall down in any circumstance, at once transcend the modes of material nature, and thus come to the level of Brahman. So I always thought of that as falling down, you know, falling down from the spiritual sky, whatever, falling down. And now I'm hearing it like Haitukia Pratyata, that's pure devotional service is not interrupted, and it's unconditional, and it's not interrupted. So like to notice during the day when I do fall down, I never fall down is like uninterrupted, is like not stopping, not falling down any moment of the day. And that's how I hear this verse is a 14th chapter, verse 26, who does not fall down in any circumstance. And now I'm looking at all the circumstances that make me fall down or that I choose, you know, fall down with. And, you know, throughout my life, different moments where I felt really connected with Krishna or really close to Krishna or very connected with the Bhagavatam or whatever. There is moments, we all have moments like that. And okay, well, I fell down. I fell down from that. Or today I fell down. What is that fall down? What was connected with that fall down? And I found it helpful. My Krishna. Anything else? Yes, Damayanti Prabhu.
Thank you for the class. Had a good night. I was just, before you shared about falling down, I was thinking about the ability to pick yourself back up, because it's like such a crucial ability to be like, oh, that's how I spent that week, that's how I spent those 5 hours, that's how like whatever, like I have this fresh new moment, I can reconnect to my soul, to Prabhupada, to Krishna. And it's more difficult, but it's more difficult because if I spent time in sin and in an illusion, like it is more difficult.
Yeah, I want more of it. I mean, illusion, I want more of it.
And wanting more of it. But yeah, like if you have a spark, like if you situate, I'm just like sort of I'm just sort of, you know, talking out loud. If you situate your life where there's a devotee or there's a picture or there's japa beads or there's like things that can bring you back to the possibility of remembrance at any of those moments that you come in contact with any of those devotional paraphernalia or people, there's a chance. And of course your own memory or Krishna, but like, you know, there's a chance of like, okay, like check in and do I want to just go ahead and pick myself back up, back out of this? Anyway, it's just an ability to just be able to move on.
Yeah.
You know, like, okay, be like, just get sober about it.
Mhm.
And it doesn't have to be like this big dramatic thing or for me or why, you know, yeah, like asking why is actually helpful, but not like indulging in all the emotion that can go along with reacting to how you spend the time, but just like, okay, like I have a fresh new moment right now, like a fresh new day, like it could be completely transformed, like I could go in a whole new direction, and you know. So anyway.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate your sharing, and I appreciate it for different reasons. That yeah, it's so we fall down, and then knowing the ability, like Prabhupada, like we can see it also like with japa. With japa, I fall down so many times in the sense that my mind goes somewhere and it doesn't go to Krishna. So that's a fall down. And Prabhupada said, just bring the mind back, brings the mind back. But if I try to start to judge, oh, I was thinking of that, I shouldn't have thinking of that. Look at me, I'm not thinking of japa here. I'm really not focusing. Oh, you know, like that, all that drama around it. Then I waste more time. I'm wasting more time and I'm more entangling. So, okay, Prabhupada said, okay, when you notice, as soon as we notice I'm not Krishna conscious, as soon as I notice I'm not hearing the holy name, then that's enough. I'm noticing, I'm back. Like, okay, I'm focusing very clearly on hearing the sound vibration of the mantra. And my wander again. And oh, okay, bring it back. But I notice myself that tendency to want to judge, criticize, and all that, and then it makes things worse. So similarly, like you said, like we want to have the ability to pick ourselves back, and Prabhupada make it so easy because he gave us everything in our lifestyle. If we really follow Prabhupada's instruction, he gave us everything in our lifestyle to bring us back. All the rule and regulations are meant to serve two rule and regulation, to always remember Krishna and never forget him. So if we bring, the more rule and regulation we bring into our life, the more we create what you're speaking about. Like, okay, there is a picture, opportunity to remember Krishna, because they're all subservient, they're all serving those rules. So we bring more rule and regulation, more structure, and all that structure is just and help us to like we does not fall down in any circumstance. Those rule and regulation just can keep us, oh, you know, like if we could just do like that, it would be already better. And all those rule and regulation, they kind of pick us up again. And yeah, sometimes in personal growth, it's like that too. Like people make agreement and they break their agreements, and then it's like a downward spiral for guilt and shame. And that's way worse than, oh, okay, well, you know, I'm noticing now and I go back on the horse. So I go back. Sometimes the image that comes to mind about that is skiing. You know, as a kid, we were skiing down snow, you know, like that. And when we were falling as kids, we fall in the snow. We'll just not feel, oh my God, I went too fast. I didn't take that turn properly. And oh my God, I should be way better than that. You know, I should know better. I see the other one, they ski so much better than me. There was none of that. We will just like brush the snow out of us and continue to go down the slope. There was nothing else. And so in life, it's like that, being able to brush the snow off and, oh, I continue down the slope. Yeah, and maybe as I continue down the slope, you know, like my fall helped me, you know, to maybe take the turn better or you know, like do better with my skiing, whatever. Yeah, thank you. That's a really important part. That's realizing, as soon as I realize I'm away, then I'm not away anymore. is that as soon as I see, oh, I didn't think of Krishna, or I'm not with Krishna, I'm not connected. Oh, Krishna, that's the most difficult thing for me, to be disconnected from you. I'm connected. That's direct, it's direct trajectory, and it's so easy. Lord Chaitanya make it so easy.
Is there a word for that? Like single English word, like resilience or something? I don't know. I don't know if it's resilience, but
I think it's
Bounce
part of
back
resilience.
factor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel distant from Prabhupada pretty often. And it's not like it's not like a spiritual lamenting or anything like that. It's just like I'm not spending time with Prabhupada. Like I'm not thinking of Prabhupada. And early in the class, I was just feeling pain about it, listening. We were speaking about the spiritual master. I'm like, what are we doing? I'm just like distant, disconnected. And then now at the end of the class, I feel like, okay, like that's how I spent that time, whatever amount of time since I've had the opportunity to connect with Prabhupada. I've spent that time like that. Like I have a whole future ahead of me, and so I could just reconnect. Like when I hear, sometimes when I hear his voice, like Garuda will play Prabhupada's lectures more often than I would. I'll turn on his chanting all the time, often. But when I hear the lectures, it's like even more personality. And I'm hearing everything much more, like and the philosophy, and I'll feel a guilt or pain, like I'm not connected. I'm not connecting. But I would prefer to experience my experience and like move on, and just because I want to be connected to Prabhupada. I love Prabhupada when I'm connected to him. I love Prabhupada. Like I'm so excited about Prabhupada, but I'm not spending time with him. So anyway, I'm feeling like enthusiasm at the end of the class, like, okay, just pick myself back up and reconnect. I could immerse in Prabhupada.
And just your desire, like sharing the desire. If you cherish the desire that I want to be with Srila Prabhupada, cherish the desire I want to be closer to Prabhupada, cherish the desire that I want to spend time with Srila Prabhupada, and then it transforms something material into something spiritual. And then Srila Prabhupada, I feel so separated from you. I didn't spend time listening to you today. And we feel so much pain from that. Then it's spiritual pain. And then it's not a fall down anymore. Yeah. It's beautiful. Thank you for Prabhupada's association. Anything else? Comment, question?
Thank you for highlighting that verse 1426 Bhagavad Gita Mam Saryo Bicharina Bhaktivinoda Sevate. Like I would say, there's several verses in the Bhagavad Gita that are particularly popular to be misused, and this is one of them. That it's like, oh, so because this verse says that devotees are transcendental, and it does say that, right? I take prasad. She wears neck beads. He chants 60 rounds. I read some Bhagavad Gita, so that means we're all transcendental. And so, but that's kind of a cheap, shallow understanding of the verse. Because it does not fall down in any circumstances. So then that verse also, it's often used that, so if someone's a devotee, quote, if someone's a devotee, they don't need to cultivate the mode of goodness in their habits, in their speech, because devotees are transcendental to the modes. So that I've often seen that verse misused, and so I appreciate your highlighting it for us to be conscious that this is not like to be on that platform of not falling down any circumstances. Yeah, there's nothing cheap about that.
Yeah, one who engages in full devotional service, who does not fall down in any circumstance. Full devotional service engages and doesn't fall down. And I'm just hearing it differently than I heard. Like recently, Srila Prabhupada is quoting, I'm in a 7th canto, and Srila Prabhupada is quoting that verse a lot. And so that's why I've been hearing it differently. And it's kind of hitting home that, okay, well, what does that mean? Falling down, it can be kind of a concept or something
Yeah.
far away from me. No, it's not far away from me. It's just, there is a way to constantly, be absorbed, engaged in devotional service. We have so many ways, hearing, chanting, remembering, serving the lotus feet, worshiping, prayer. I'm trying to develop prayer. Lately, I'm learning more about prayer. So, like there is so many, I'm giving everything, like, Krishna, do whatever you want with me. Like that. So there is so many ways, nine ways, 9 primary ways we can serve the Lord and engage ourselves. And then falling down is when we are in ignorance. We are forgetting. We just forget. Forgetfulness, and then we are forgetting who we are and what we are supposed to do here. What's the purpose of human life? Yeah. Hare Krishna. Thank you, everyone. Entourage, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol.